争をしましょう。
Bakemonogatari and the Monogatari series as a whole is one of the most unique anime out there and one of the greats. The anime adaptation of the light novel written by, forgive me if I butcher the name, Nisio Isin and directed by Akiyuki Shinbo. Bakemonogatari is a show that has a bit of everything. It has action elements, romance elements, supernatural elements, and most importantly, degeneracy elements. Oh yeah! The Monogatari series is one of my favorites in all of anime, and today I'm going to talk about where it all began for me, Bakemonogatari. Let's see why, even though I love this series with all my heart, I can't recommend it. Describing the story of Bakemonogatari is a daunting task, but here goes. Bakemonogatari is a supernatural story about apparitions, or oddities if you will, and the people they affect. We follow Koyomi Araragi, a high school boy who was bitten by a legendary vampire, but managed to remain a human thanks to the help of the oddity specialist Meme Oshino. However, Araragi still has some vampiric abilities like regeneration, and now goes around helping people affected by different oddities. That's basically the overarching plot of Bakemonogatari, but the plot is divided into 5 arcs, and I'm going to try and describe each arc as spoiler-free as possible. Here goes! First up, we have the Hitagi Crab arc. By a complete coincidence, Hitagi senjougahara runs into, or should I say fall into, Araragi, where he discovers that she weighs almost nothing. Senjougahara then confronts Araragi and threatens him to keep her secret or else she'll staple his mouth shut. However, Araragi still offers a helping hand and shows her that he's also been affected by an apparition and knows an oddity specialist who can help. They go to Oshino, and after they tell him Senjougahara's symptoms, he tells them that she's been affected by the heavy stone crab, and it stole her weight from her. Then, they start to prepare the ritual to get her weight back. You might wonder, why was Senjougahara's weight stolen? Well, I'd consider saying more would be going into spoiler territory, so I'm going to stop there and go on to the next arc. Next is the Mayoi Snail arc. Araragi leaves the house on Mother's Day despite the protests of his little sisters, and goes to a nearby park where he meets Senjougahara, and they talk about all sorts of things. That's when Araragi encounters a lost girl by the name Mayoi Hachikuji, who just wants to go home. Araragi decides to help her, but somehow they can't reach her address at all. Next is the Suruga Monkey arc. Araragi meets Kanbaru Suruga, a tomboyish girl with a bandaged right arm, which later turns out to be a monkey's paw that grants her wishes but in messed up ways. The next arc is the Nadeko Snake arc, which has one of the most popular anime openings of all time. While Araragi and Kanbaru were on the way to the North Shirahebi shrine, they ran into Nadeko Sengoku, who's been sacrificing white snakes at the shrine to try and cure the curse placed on her that was going to kill her. The final arc is the Tsubasa Cat arc. When stressed, Tsubasa Hanekawa, Araragi's friend, starts to get headaches and turns to a cat apparition that attacks her source of stress. Even though I try to describe each arc as vaguely and, let's face it, as badly as possible, the series' strongest point isn't its story exactly, but its dialogue. If you're going to the series knowing nothing, then beware. Although I said the series has a bit of everything in the intro, it's mostly dialogue. Some full episodes may pass with just a couple of characters talking to each other, and that's it. And that may make the show seem a bit slow and may put some people off. However, that's Bakemonogatari's strongest point, and the whole series for that matter. The dialogue in the series is brilliant, and if you're into a dialogue-centric show, then this one shouldn't be missed. Phew! We're finally out of the plot minefield. Let's go into the presentation. Bakemonogatari is animated by Studio Shaft, one of the greats in the industry, and just watching Bakemonogatari tells you why they're one of the greats. Even though the anime is heavy on dialogue, it's still got the VIP treatment. All across the board, from character designs and art style to animation, are done extremely well. It just pleases the eyes. The OST as well is fantastic and extremely memorable. Each arc has its own OP, sung by the voice actress of the character affected in the arc. My personal favorite is Staple Stable, a song that's still in my playlist to this day. Even Renai Circulation, which, even though became a meme, is extremely memorable, that even people who don't watch anime know it, thanks to the meme. The ED as well is a favorite of mine, and that's due to how they used it in episode 12. I'm a sucker for when the OP or ED is played during the episode, and Bakemonogatari's ED was my first exposure to that, which made it stick with me. All in all, the presentation is a perfect 10 out of 10. Now, we come to the reasons why, even though I love the series to death, I still can't recommend it to anyone, and that's due to 3 main problems. First one is the degeneracy of the anime. It's filled with fan service, and some of it I can't even show on YouTube. Also, araragi sometimes turns full on into a child molester, especially with hachikuji, and even though it's used for the sake of comedy, it can be off-putting. The second reason is the series' accessibility. Depending on where you live, the series can be pretty expensive to watch. For example, I live in Egypt, where streaming services like Funimation and Hulu aren't available to us, and those that are available have a somewhat limited library. And unfortunately, Bakemonogatari is one of those anime that are cut. So in order to watch it, you can either use a VPN or buy the Blu-ray, but be warned that they're quite expensive. The final problem of the series is the watch order. Even though this video is just a review for Bakemonogatari, if you're really willing to watch the series, then I recommend researching in what order to watch it. There are a lot of adaptations in the series, and if you went in blind, you might find yourself lost in the middle or skipped something you didn't know about. Even though the series is hard to recommend to newcomers, Bakemonogatari has become an anime classic. It's one of those shows that are too important to ignore, and it's obvious why. It has some of the best dialogue in anime, some of the best designed and most interesting characters out there, animation that is out of this world, and one hell of an OST. I'm a huge fan of the series, and if you're willing to take this journey despite its problems, then I wish you well, and I can't wait to see you on the other side. This has been Enio, and until next time, mata ne!